Well, no long OTs in this playoffs, and it continues again tonight as the Colorado Avalanche put away the Tampa Bay Lightning in short order. What a beautiful, beautiful goal there by Burakovsky to take it home. Let's go ahead and talk about the Avs speed, the Avs 5-on-5 game. Let's talk about Compher. Let's talk about the brilliance that was Andrei Vasilevskiy. And should the Bolts panic or not panic at this point in time? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about it. Starting with the Avs, this is the Avs team all Avs fans knew were coming. That was the absolute 5-on-5 clinic speed through the neutral zone. They looked a little sloppy to me in the first period, even though I understand in the first they got 3 goals. I got that. But this team is so good that I actually thought they got a little bit clogged up in the neutral zone. So I would have ranked them an 8.5, a 9 out of 10 in the first period. They have the gear to go 11 out of 10. So I've seen the Avs play even better, which is scary. They were on their game in the first. They end up leading it 3-1, but they could be even better than what you end up seeing. So that 5-on-5 transition speed through the neutral zone was on display. Taking a look at the Avs superstars, it's actually the Avs depth that ends up getting it done. MacKinnon looked incredible. I mean, he really did, but the Bolts did a great job holding him at bay. Vasilevskiy did a great job keeping the puck out of the net from MacKinnon. Makar had moments of brilliance where he was dominant as ever, and then he had moments where it looked like people were actually able to get around him and exploit him. After watching his dominance over McDavid and Draisaitl in the Edmonton series, I was a little bit surprised, but this is the NHL after all. There are elite players all over the ice. So there were moments where Makar looked human, and then there were moments where Makar looked like Cale Makar, especially in the overtime there at the end when he was buzzing, just absolute speed at the end of that power play. My goodness, can this kid skate? Great battle with Brandon Hagel behind the net. So the Bolts do a good job of keeping the superstars quiet of the Colorado Avalanche, but this is what Avs fans have been saying. The Colorado Avalanche depth of team ends up taking this one home. And yes, Landeskog scores the first one. I understand it from Mikko Rantanen. But then after that, it's Valeri Nichushkin, which we could consider, you know, a star at this point in time. But I really take a look at it's Landeskog, it's MacKinnon, it is Rantanen, it's Makar. So anybody out of those big four, yes, they're excellent players, but that's the core of the Avs, in my opinion. So it's Nichushkin after that. Then it's Artturi Lehkonen. I mean, what a pickup by the Avs there at the deadline. And then Burakovsky ends up putting it in at the end. It's the depth of the Avs and their ability to play. Really, really nice job there by the Avs. Let's talk about Darcy Kuemper too. I thought Kuemper settled down quite well. When the game became 3-3, I really did think that this was going to be the Bolts game. It was over. I thought Kuemper was crumbling, in my opinion. Not that any of the goals were horrid goals or anything like that, but Vasilevskiy has nothing left to prove in the NHL. He's going to be cool as a cucumber no matter what the score is. He always has the opportunity to bounce back. I feel this is Kuemper versus Kuemper at this point. The Kuemper is going to put a lot of pressure on himself. I felt Kuemper was going to go ahead and get inside his own head, especially after the third goal, but he didn't. After the third goal, Darcy Kuemper played well, and yes, the shot count was low, but Kuemper doesn't need to be as good as Vasilevskiy. Kuemper just needs to be good enough because the Avs are going to put on a boatload of shots. I mean, it's 23 shots versus 38. And we knew this coming in. We knew the Avs were going to put on 35 to 45 shots. We saw the Bolts handle this type of pressure from the Florida Panthers and withstand it. And speaking of the Bolts, I thought the Bolts played their game again tonight. Look, were they good in the first period? No. Absolutely not. They weren't defensively sound. They gave up the puck way too many times. Absolutely way too many times in the neutral zone to the Avs. And it wasn't the Avalanche taking the puck away from the Bolts. It was the Bolts defenders and Bolts players on the walls that were just frustratingly moving the puck up the middle of the ice, causing turnover after turnover, giving the Avs chance after chance. So that is not the Bolts game. And in case you weren't watching the New York Rangers series, Avs fans, when the Bolts have more than 20 giveaways in a game, they lose. So they had more than 20 against the Rangers in game 1 and game 2. And promptly after that, they kept it below 6 and they ended up getting 4 in a row after it. So if the Bolts tighten it up and stop the giveaways, it could be trouble for the Avs. I thought the Bolts had a lot of good things going on. The fact that they made it 3-3 was excellent. I thought the fact that they were able to battle back was excellent. I thought they settled in the second half of the game. I thought the Bolts looked much better than they did in the first half of the game. Andrei Vasilevskiy settled in. Now you have seen the scariness that is Vasilevskiy. Yes, you figured him out, but you got one goal, which was a beautiful goal by Burakovsky after he settled in. The first 3 goals weren't really the Vasi that I'm used to seeing, but Vasi has had bad game 1s before. We have seen this movie before, Avalanche fans. The Leafs won 6-0 in game 1. Then we saw the Rangers kick them in game 1. We have seen teams put the Avs on the ropes and the Avs respond. So the prudent fan, the smart fan is going to say we're really thrilled to get the win, and the fan that's just had a little bit too much beer and jacked up, you're going to comment down below and say, Avs in 4, baby. We told you it's going to be over. Go back, read the comments, see what the Ranger fans said. It's not over against the Bolts until it's over. As my buddy Lance Kane likes to say, a lot of hockey left to play. Speaking of that, I want to go ahead and shout out and thank all of our members here on our members page. We just had the Brown Tiger, who was our first ever member here on here, and Mick upgrade into the executive suites. What's up, guys? Lance Kane's been our executive suites since he joined, and a tasty snack. So big shout out to those guys. Big shout out to our lower bowl members as well, too. There are people who are graduating through the badge program. Gary Batman, thanks so much for moderating in the chat today. It was excellent. We also have a bunch that end up going through. Thank you to all of you in the lower bowl and in the executive suites, as well as in the upper bowl. And if you want to join the coaches staff, go down below, hit the join button. However, if the monetized return isn't for you, not a big deal. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. There's 2 different buttons down below now. There's subscribe, which is free, and we're on our way to 10,000. Join us. Push us over that hump. We're less than 300 people away. Thank you so much. I never thought I'd have a YouTube channel with 10,000 people. So let's go ahead and get there before the playoffs is over. Why don't you go ahead, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this game. If you can't even think of a comment, drop an emoji. It helps spread the love for this channel. So thanks to the daily assist. Big fist bump to everybody that does that there. And like the video. Would really appreciate it. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Let's keep talking about this awesome game. Now, before we break down goals, I think we have to talk about special teams as well, too, don't we? The narrative was supposed to be that the Tampa Bay Lightning have the better penalty kill and the, let's call it, god tier power play. It is, of the Colorado Avalanche, would be amazing. But the Avs don't have a very good penalty kill, so the Bolts might be able to exploit. Well, the Bolts had 3 power plays tonight, and they went 0-3, and they looked terrible on the power play. The Avs penalty kill just looked chef's kiss, beautiful. They were standing them up the line, doing everything you needed to do. The Avs kill was absolutely on fire. The Bolts couldn't get going, and I think that's because Kucherov was just making bad decisions along the wall. He was not moving the puck properly. He was taking stupid shots when he shouldn't take them. Kucherov definitely didn't have his best game on the power play, but he did have a very good game, especially his dangle through the Toews and Makar lineup there with Palat. So Kuch will get even better. You haven't seen the best of Kuch yet. McDavid couldn't get around Makar, but Kucherov and Palat certainly did. I think it's also worth noting that even though the Avs only scored on a 5-on-3, and I say only because, like, you should absolutely score on a 5-on-3, never mind being the Colorado Avalanche, I still thought their power play looked really good. It looked deadly, but the Tampa Bay Lightning did what Tampa Bay Lightning does. If you haven't watched them, Avs fans, you've just been focused on the West. The Bolts block more shots than anyone else. Now, yes, the Avs blocked a lot of shots as well tonight too, but nobody does it better than the Bolts. You've seen it. They will put life, limb, face, and teeth in front of shots, and they were on full display again this time. I thought they had some really good kills at the time, but really at the end of the day, watching the way the Colorado Avalanche moved around on the power play gives me a lot of confidence in this Avs power play going forward. Vasilevskiy just closed the door, and Vasilevskiy was brilliant. It may only be 4. You can consider it a solve, but I thought Vasilevskiy was absolutely brilliant. This is an 8-3 game at best if Vasilevskiy isn't in the net. And the final point I want to make before we end up breaking down these goals is Brayden Point looked pretty good this game. He may have not got a shot on net. I don't think he got a shot. He might have got one at the end, but he was at 0 the last time I checked. Brayden Point looked good this game. He actually ended up saving the game, in my opinion, with an amazing back check that took away a puck in the slot. And that's why Brayden Point is such a game changer for the Bolts. He's definitely their best two-way player on that. So we'll have to wait and see if Nazem Kadri ends up returning to this series as well, but the Bolts returning player looks strong. Goal number 1 is really clear. It's all about speed, baby. Bowen Byram ended up carrying the puck through the zone. Look at this beautiful work. So you've heard me say you don't want to cross over if you're a defenseman. It's the opposite if you're a forward or the puck carrier. So you want to cross. And then what you actually end up seeing here is the fact that Byram gets to take the zone without any disruption. We have a reaching Tampa Bay Lightning player here, a reaching Lightning player. And why can 2 players reach here? Because they have the numbers. They're supposed to be standing up here. So you can see that you got Hagel here on the back check at this point in time. You do have an even 3-on-3 across the zone. You don't want to be backing into the zone. zone. You should have stood them up at the blue line here. So they end up too far back, which allows for the goal here by Landeskog. But this is what speed does through the neutral zone. That's why speed kills. Byram's speed was just incredible. And no matter what you want to do, sometimes speed is going to force you to do something else. So he ends up bumping it out. Bowen Byram's going to go ahead and drive the mid lane here. And that's exactly what you want to do because it ends up pushing back both Tampa Bay players here. Mikko Rantanen here on the wall is going to be able to carry this puck nicely down low. And I like the back check that's coming through here. So we've got a good back check here. We've got a good battle here. This should be no problem for Tampa Bay. They're playing everything the right way at this point in time, but Mikko Rantanen's an absolutely elite shooter. He ends up cutting in. You can see a nice disengage here, as you should. You need to put pressure on him because you got an even battle here and an even battle here. So you have numbers. You want to be able to pressure. There's nothing wrong with this play here from Tampa Bay from a defensive standpoint, but take a look. Vasilevskiy, he's looking for that puck. That puck is actually released behind a screen of two guys. As he ends up going down, he goes down a little bit too late. It's tough to track the puck from this moment in time, and it's going to sneak in under his glove here. So even some of the best in the world end up getting beat. Vasilevskiy could have had that. I'm not going to say this is Vasilevskiy's shot. Rantanen uses the screen perfectly. He's a left-handed shot. He's a trigger man, and he ends up using it cross body through two players. Landeskog, the bigger power forward, ends up out-muscling the smaller Brandon Hagel. Hagel ends up getting lost on the wrong side of the puck here now, so we're going to go back a couple frames because we were just talking about that shot. We always get caught puck watching here. Hagel's a fast guy, but he doesn't use his body position properly. So take a look here. Now he's got position. That's what you want to do. But you don't want to get caught puck watching either. And you can see Hagel is caught puck watching. And then what ends up happening is Landeskog just goes over top of him. The bigger, stronger power forward does it. He finds the puck in behind Vasilevskiy. And you can see Hagel working super hard to keep him out. He actually ends up hooking him down, but doesn't matter. Too late. Landeskog ends up putting it in. Small guys, all you got to do is stay in front of your player, but you can't get caught puck watching. Nichushkin scores from MacKinnon here, but Nichushkin should assist his own goal. What a beautiful forecheck here by Nichushkin on Hedman. He ends up turning the puck over. Just a beautiful job. You can see right here. There's the battle. The puck was going north to south. Nichushkin ends up getting the puck down here low into the corner with that forecheck. Amazing, amazing job by him. He was an absolute beast this game. And then what does he do? He says, well, 2-on-1, no problem. I'll go ahead. I'll get my own puck. So Zach Bogosian, a little bit slower, a little bit longer in the tooth. He ends up getting beat to the puck by Nichushkin. He makes an absolutely proper reverse here to Victor Hedman behind the net. The elite Victor Hedman picks up the puck, moves it up the wall, and Hedman actually ends up forcing it with a bad pass here that gets broken up by Colorado. And Nathan MacKinnon is going to pick up that loose puck. And remember, the trigger man, Nichushkin, is right here. He starts this goal. He causes this goal, so he gets the goal. Really nice turnover here. Rush play by Hedman. Moves it over to Nichushkin in the slot. And all Nichushkin does, you can see he just turns, opens, gets on 1 foot. Beautiful little snapshot here. This is going to beat Vasilevskiy due to all the different angle changes that end up being made here. These broken plays and these quick shots by snipers like Nichushkin end up putting pucks in the net. And it's an interesting puck that ends up beating Vasilevskiy. Look, it's 2-0. Really, really great forecheck by Nichushkin. Nice pinch in here by Victor Hedman. Colorado ends up putting it in off the wall here, and Nick Paul is the guy that's going to end up scoring the goal. And remember, good defense leads to good offense. Look at the defense here by Nick Paul. He's going to end up picking up the puck here down low. Really nice battle. This is a turnover by Colorado, but at the end of the day, Nick Paul all the way back. All the way, hard back look. He is now the furthest guy back on this play. He has done his defensive job. And take a look now, because he is going to be the breaking winger here that ends up leaving this zone and scoring this goal. We look like we're going for a simple little neutral zone regroup, and you can see it here as well. Nick Paul continues to focus defensively. He's now moved from here to here. He knows there's a battle here on the boards, but Nick Paul remains on the right side of the puck, or with the ability to move to the right side of the puck really quickly. He waits until his team has full possession. It gets possession, and then Nick Paul is gone. It is 3 or 4 hard strides right down the middle of the ice. So you can see him here at the bottom of your screen. He ends up beating Colorado to this puck. And as Nick Paul ends up coming in, we're going to try to freeze frame it. He loses the puck. I don't know if you ended up seeing it there, but he lost the puck. Little bit of a hiccup, and it ends up actually hitting off of the Avalanche player's stick here, unfortunately pushing it back onto Nick Paul's stick so he can put it in on Darcy Kuemper. Now, it's at this point in the game that Mikahil Sergachev decides he's going to do some boneheaded plays. He actually ends up getting caught on a trip, and you've heard me talk about this with Sergachev before. Yes, he scored a goal. Yes, it's easy to look at his offensive prowess, but defensively, this guy just makes some boneheaded plays that make me want to go bald, and I'm already bald. Thanks, Mikahil. Mikahil ends up playing a one-on-one, and he ends up reaching his stick out. Now, Cirelli ends up coming back on the back check, and it looks like this should be Cirelli's penalty. It's not. It's Mikahil sticking out his stick that ends up causing the trip, the hook, or the interference, whatever you want to end up calling it. It's a penalty on Sergachev. He's in the box, and then unfortunately, an errant stick on the behalf of the Tampa Bay Lightning end up catching him in a trip. It turns into a 5-on-3, and this is going to be the one power play goal for the Avs. Didn't think for even a second that the Bolts were going to survive this one. I know a minute in, Bolts fans were feeling pretty good about it. I would never feel good playing against a Colorado power play, never mind a Colorado 5-on-3. 5-on-3s are really simple. You're playing what's called a box +1. So here's your box. Here's your +1. That's what you want to do in a 5-on-3. Now, you might have a diamond shape to it, right? You could call this a diamond shape, or you might have a box shape to it. Either way, it is going to be called a box +1. So you might end up seeing a player bump down here and a player bump down here. So you have more of a traditional box. It all depends on how you want to shape the play. But all you're trying to do at this point is starting to push in and collapse the box so your guy who's the +1 can either act as the bumper, or you can make those cross seam passes over to a guy like MacKinnon here to try to put the puck in the net. You're not looking for multiple shots on 5-on-3. You're just looking for the shot. So you don't want to waste shots with shot at the point. So you see they're working through the box +1, which is a diamond shape. They cross it over to who ends up making a big shot. Beautiful block here by Tampa Bay. Amazing work, but unfortunately, it is not going to be good enough as MacKinnon is going to retrieve his own puck. He's too good. He bumps it around to the back here, and as he ends up bumping it to the back, we talk about widening and lengthening the zone at all points in time. Widening and lengthening changes that angle on Vasilevskiy enough that they're going to end up putting it in the back of the net. So you end up going to the top here. Beautiful power play goal here by Artturi Lehkonen. Vasilevskiy has no chance. Really good effort here by the Bolts. But unfortunately, Sergachev's boneheaded penalty there ends up costing him this one. The second penalty is just an unlucky stick that happens, but you got to keep control of your stick. It doesn't matter if it's a weak call. You got to control where your stick goes. All right, so we have a 2-on-2 here. Now, my head is in the way of the other player here, but you have Palat down here and you have Kucherov. You can just see his stick. When it is a 2-on-2, you must stand them at the blue line. Why? Because if you back into the blue line, the play that is practiced all the time from age 12 and on is the cross. When you end up backing in your defenseman, you're going to cross right here and you're going to drop a puck. That is what players do. Why? Crossing is a nightmare. It's a nightmare for defensemen because you're switching players. It's a nightmare for goalies. And that's all Tampa Bay does here. So take a look. Look, I don't know what he's calling for here, Mr. Makar, but like he knows better. You need to stand up. Someone needs to pressure him here. They don't. They back in way too far. And as soon as you give them the zone, you're going to end up seeing the cross. Now, fun fact for those of you that may not have played hockey, a drop pass doesn't mean you actually push the puck. So this is just one of those little nuances. You actually drop the pass. You just stop touching the puck. If you actually pass this puck, Kucherov is going to skate over it. So watch him just leave the puck there. He leaves it. It sits there. The only reason it's moving is due to the momentum of the body. It is easy for Kucherov to pick this pass up. And now what you end up happening because of the crisscross is you gain more space and you create more gap. So now you've created gap and you're going to cause defensemen to cross over. As soon as defensemen have to cross their feet, it doesn't matter if their name is Makar and Toews, they're going to be burnt. So they end up flat-footed with little C cuts there. Toews is just waving at the puck at this point in time right now. They end up getting crossed over here because it's Kucherov. Kucherov ends up finding Palat. Beautiful play there. Nothing Makar and Toews could do. They made them look human on that play. But it all starts with gap at the blue line. There's nothing really special on the Sergachev goal. The puck ends up going high. Tampa Bay ends up keeping it. They're lucky it doesn't end up going out. Brandon Hagel's amazing. Just a magician with the puck. He ends up getting it back here to Sergachev, who's going to end up walking in. Look, there's not much you can do here. It's just a really good shot, like an absolutely deadly shot by Sergachev. You can see it here from this angle way in the back. Darcy Kuemper is trying to look over this screen here in order to find the puck. He's not going to be able to find it in time. And the other problem with this is this shot has eyes. So it is a beautiful movement of the feet by Sergachev. Remember, move your feet first, then your brain, then your hands. And because he is a left-handed shot on the right-handed side, and we've talked about this several times with Sergachev playing on your offhand on defense is a huge advantage. He's actually going to end up being able to score this goal here. So a beautiful drag by Sergachev towards the boards. And then by dragging it towards the boards, he actually changes the angle enough that he gets another 2 screens in front of it. And then he's going to go wide and he's going to pick the far side post. Nothing Kuemper's going to be able to do here. This is just an amazing shot by Sergachev. I personally think Sergachev was shooting for this tip here and it just ended up going in, but he's also a very deadly shooter, so he could have just been simply shooting to score. No matter what, Kuemper's got no chance on that one. That's not his fault. Great goal by Sergachev. And take a look at this celly here by Sergachev. Was he not thrilled? Look at him. He's pumped. He's looking at his bench. Yeah, we did it. This is more than just scoring the goal, though, folks. Sergachev was having an absolutely atrocious game at this point, and Cooper clearly has a lot of trust in him. You heard me say it on the live stream, and you should join our live streams when we live stream. You heard me say it on the live stream. I was just like, I'd have benched him. I'm so frustrated as a coach watching a guy like this play, but he's such a game breaker on offense that there's nothing you can do. So he causes a goal due to a bonehead play that causes a penalty, and then he makes up for it with a great goal. My other challenge with Sergachev is after he does something that he isn't, he's not doing well in, or he's just not having a good game, he pouts a lot. And I don't like players that pout a lot. Get back in the game, play the game. I don't want to see guys doing this, rolling their head up, banging their stick. Sergachev's got a lot of body language there, and he's a young man. This is what they do. But you just got to get back in the game. So he's going to be, if he isn't already, a good defenseman. But boy, howdy, can he be frustrating. But what a great celly. What a great goal. 3-3 at this point in time. Okay, it's pick on Mikahil Sergachev time again. Overtime goal here by the Avs. Beautiful job by Andrei Burakovsky. Absolutely the right time to show up here from Nichushkin and JT Compher. But here is the battle that you're going to see. You end up seeing him using that big long reach to close the gap. Well, at this point in time, his gap isn't good enough. And the reason his gap isn't good enough is he can't reach the puck. So he needs to be able to close that gap a little bit faster. He's got Victor Hedman on his far side. He should feel very safe to be able to step up. But look what happens. Okay, he gets crossed over, he steps in, and then again, it's just a light little play. He always lets guys around him. I just don't like that. I think it's so lackadaisical. Hedman ends up picking the puck up. No big deal. He throws it up, and it unfortunately, in a quagmire of events, hits off the Bolts player, pops way up in the air, and now it's up here. It's a free puck. So yes, this is a bummer of a play on the Bolts, but Sergachev could have done more about this. It ends up coming in. Now you'll see Sergachev pick up the puck. And the only thing he's thinking here at this point is to slap this puck forward. Yes, you cannot hit this player. I'm not saying to do that, but pick up this puck, make a pro curl towards the boards. Find a way to use that puck confidence in that stick, because anytime you give up a puck up the center of the ice, regardless of your reason for it, it's going to end up in the back of your net or have a great chance to do it. And this is another one of those Bolts giveaways. They had a lot of these in the first. This is not a great giveaway, so take a look. Slaps it away, so great. Nice hand-eye, and then it ends up getting picked off here at center ice. This is why we don't just throw pucks up the middle. There's no safe play with a puck up the middle, and now you have speed. Beautiful play here, ends up going in. Hedman ends up laying down for the block shot. That's fine in overtime, makes an amazing block. However, it's an unfortunate bounce out. You have a 3-on-3. That puck ends up all the way over there on Nichushkin's stick, and instead of shooting, Nichushkin is going to find Burakovsky. This ends up crossing the Royal Road. You guys know I love my Royal Roads because that is how goals are scored. So there's your Royal Road, a line down the center of the ice. Vasilevskiy has absolutely no chance on this shot as it comes over. Look at all the daylight that's in the net there. He has to give respect to the fact that Nichushkin is shooting. He does. That puck goes in. Turnover center ice, costs the Bolts the game. But the sign of a great team is capitalizing when you're given opportunities. And that is what the Colorado Avalanche did. They make you pay every time for capitalizing. So Colorado's 5-on-5, unbelievable, incredible job. Great way to win through depth. Darcy Kuemper does everything he needs to do. The Avs end up winning at home, but don't forget, I've seen this story. You've seen this story. We've bought the movie tickets together. We've even been on the ride. We bought the t-shirt, ate at the cafeteria. The Bolts are not out till they're out. So great win by the Avs. Yes, they may be the Avs in 4, Avs in 5, but we'll have to end up seeing what happens by the end of actually Game 3, if you can believe it. So great job getting that win at home. Awesome job by the Avs. I think the series is playing out exactly as it should for both teams. Their strengths are on display. We'll end up seeing if Vasilevskiy can steal one next game, because I don't think there's any way the Bolts are going to be out shooting this amazing juggernaut that is the Colorado Avalanche 5-on-5.